up, and welcome back to Opposites Attract Podcast. This is Sonja Ramirez, your girl, and I'm sitting next to
Miguel Ramirez. That's how we're doing 300, huh? That's how we're doing 300.
How was your day?
How was your week?
How is your life?
Going. Welcome to episode 300.
Yeah. Miguel's he's trying to start some shit before we get started.
What you mean?
What you mean?
I wasn't starting nothing.
Okay. That's right.
Before we start anything, make sure you guys go to our website and actually just follow our social media. Send us a message, comment, like, all that stuff. You guys know what to do.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Share it with somebody else. Find a clip.
Unless they're new, but they still know.
But, dude,
right?
I know even if this is your first video, this ain't your first video.
Right.
Right? Do what you do for other people, for us.
Yes. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
What's up, yo? Episode 300.
Yeah.
We made it.
We did.
I don't know.
I
don't know what we made it to, but
canceled.
We made it.
Without being canceled.
Oh, gee.
Because of your mouth.
Yeah.
Because of his mouth.
Yeah, it's been crazy over the years.
Because you're always talking shit.
I am. I do.
Just like before we got started here. I have to choke him out. Mm-mm.
Yeah. So what's up, yo?
Nothing.
Nothing? You got nothing? Nothing going on?
I got nothing. I got a lot of something. There's a lot going on.
We got your retreat coming up.
I know. Yes. That's October 25th through the 27th.
Yeah.
And
in Sholo, Arizona?
Sholo, Arizona.
Yeah, it's going to be beautiful.
Yes. The Airbnb is in the middle of the forest. And it's secluded. There's no phone service.
Nice.
So it's I'm excited. This one is going to be, I feel like there's going to be a lot to learn from this one. A lot of growth.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So right before we started, we were saying, you were asking like, which episode is this? And I was like, this is 300. Mm-hmm. It's crazy that we've done 300 of these.
I was talking to someone who started watching our podcast and listening to our podcast, one of my clients. And I told her, you should go back and from the beginning, because she knows me for who I am now.
Right.
And I think we should probably go back and watch and listen.
Wow. Yeah. Because 5 years ago, we were completely different.
Right.
That's crazy.
So
to think
it would
about.
be super cool to go back and listen to the old us.
We may
right?
not want to. I'd be like, oh shit, I'm never going back and listening to that.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
The other day I was walking around the house and just having a moment with myself. And I was looking at our pictures from our wedding.
Yeah.
And as I came across the one on our dresser, I was looking at her, which is me, and sending her gratitude and love for who she was back then and all the things that she's been able to accomplish, like all the lessons, like all the shit that she's gone through, which is me, and just sitting with her in that moment and looking at you and showing that and having that same appreciation for you and where you are today. And it's very therapeutic to be able to sit and recognize all the changes that took place within us and as a couple.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel that it's important for us to self-reflect, even like the children.
Yeah, same thing.
You know, to have these conversations with them and get them to see all the things that they've been able to overcome.
Right.
Audrey had mentioned that she had a rough time in 6th grade.
Yeah.
And there was a pretty big transformation that occurred within her from 6th to 7th grade.
Yeah, and that's like you're saying, that's an opportunity to go back and see like how much she's grown since then.
And I don't know how many parents are aware of what their children are really going through.
Yeah.
During just certain times of their lives. Because I didn't know, like I knew that 6th grade was challenging for her, but I didn't know the full story until I asked her that question of which year did you feel you learned the most from? Like, which year was the most challenging for you? Because I would have thought it was freshman year.
Yeah.
And it was not. It was 6th grade. And that's when her body started to change. Like things started to happen.
She's developing and all that.
Mm-hmm. You know, and just the things that she was going through, even at school in 6th grade.
Yeah. Yeah, school's rough.
And it is a conversation that I feel
or it can be.
Should be had with Joey. Like you just sitting with him, because I can sit with Audrey and have certain conversations with her, and I do have some conversations with Joey, and I make it so that he doesn't feel embarrassed. I do it like playfully, you know, like, dude, I know what your balls look like.
Yeah, every son loves that.
You know what I'm saying? Because we're having a conversation and I'm open with the kids, right? Like, I'm like, whatever. They'll walk in and I'll be butt naked. Like, whatever. I don't care. I don't like run behind the door or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so getting him to feel comfortable in his own skin is important. And I think you having that conversation with him will help him to be that and to recognize the changes that are happening within him. You know, I took him to his physical. He's about to be 13 and he's a bit uncomfortable, like with his body.
Yeah.
You know, and so, and I'm sure I know that's normal, especially, you know, having a physical, your doctor's a female, like, right? So I understand that. Oh, by the way. So yeah, having those conversations, we got to have those conversations. Anything you want to add?
Speaking about being comfortable in your own skin. I mean, this is separate, but there was a clip that I made last week, and it was about that trans isn't a real thing, right? And I got a response from somebody, and you guys can check it out on the Clips channel. But I haven't responded to their second response, but I just wanted to kind of read what we were saying back and forth, and maybe I'll just respond to it here, and hopefully Sir Spike 1606 might hear this. But it said, I was going to type out this long-winded, ranty paragraph, but I'm trans, and I would love to answer anyone's questions. You guys seem very interesting and brought up good points. About me, I'm 16, and I've been trying to go on hormones for over a year now. I was born a girl and have felt extreme discomfort from a very young age. I don't see myself even remotely as a girl or woman at this point through my biology, though my biology says otherwise. It's hard being trans, but besides that, I haven't had any major trauma, because we were saying that most people that we've met, or every person that we've met, pretty much has had some serious trauma in their life that has become trans, right? And it seems like it's what's underlying that is a mental illness, or like that they have to deal with this trauma, and that's what it's manifesting as, right? And it said it's hard being trans, but besides that, I haven't had any major trauma. If anyone has any questions, I would love to answer as long as it's respectful. And I responded, thanks for your comment. Being a teenager can be difficult, and there are many things changing about your body. One thing I know is that you will most likely become a completely different person in your 20s, 30s, and 40s. This is when most people truly find themselves. By taking hormones, you could irreparably change your body, and you might regret it as you get older. We wish you the best. And this person came back and said, thank you so much. I understand that. I will learn and grow and find my true personality. I think my identity will expand for sure, but I really don't believe I will ever be cisgendered, which means like just a normal girl, just like feeling as a girl, being a girl. It sucks because that would be easy and normal, right?
Yeah.
I felt something was off at 6 though, and I've been confident in this for 10 years and foresee my next 70 to 80 years ideally to be the same. If not, whatever, this is literally saving my life and has been since 12 years old. If I turn out not to be trans, okay, at least I didn't take my life at this point, like the massive amount of other trans folks, unfortunately. But thank you for the video and comment. God bless y'all. And when I was reading that, like I wanted to respond, but we got busy doing things. But what I was thinking was, like, for that person, I would say just to sit with yourself. Sit with yourself and think about, what is it that makes you feel that for some reason you need hormones to make you whole? Because you're taking something because something's not right about you. Something's missing. Why is it that, why do you feel that something's not right? And one thing that has continued to come up also is acceptance. Acceptance of what is. You are who you are. You're incredible the way you are. You don't need to be anything else. And I would say just sit with yourself. Male, female, these are things that we don't pick. And we are so much more than just our gender. I think it's the acceptance. You should be okay with who you are. And like they said, like, wouldn't it be so much easier? Yes. It would be so much easier if you just felt like everybody else does. But guess what? You're special. There's things about you that are different than everybody else, no matter what. And this happens to be one of them. Maybe you can teach people to accept even when you don't feel like everybody else. There's a lot of times I don't feel like everybody else. And
right.
You have to choose. You have to accept it.
I would love to sit with that person.
Sir Spike 1606?
Offer a gifting session.
I don't know.
They're
16. They're 16.
I know.
I don't know.
Well, yeah.
But maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, the parents.
You never know. You never know, because if we could help somebody, like, why not?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, no matter how, like, we may think different on different things or whatever, but I know we just want people to be happy.
Right. Yeah. And that's all that really matters is that.
Yeah.
It's very hard to say because we are not them. To understand them just like you said, there's no way for me to understand you or to know everything about you, to
And how I
understand
feel.
you and how you feel, because I am not you.
Right.
So it's very hard to understand those that express, kind of like that young individual, what they're going through, because we are not them.
And
But if I can sit with that
yeah.
individual, being who I am, I may be able to understand some things and see some things that they can't see for themselves.
Yeah.
Right? Because a lot of times when we go through things, or when we're going through things, because we're so used to doing the thing, like it's imprinted in our subconscious mind, that we don't even recognize the thing that we're doing or why we're feeling the way we're feeling.
Yeah.
And so we just keep repeating the same behavior, not knowing.
Yeah. And you were saying earlier, like, that you can't understand exactly how they feel, right? I can't understand exactly how they feel.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can understand that you don't understand, then you can have a little empathy. Even if it looks weird to you.
Different.
Even if it's, like, something's going on. I don't understand it. And if I underlying feel like maybe there's something up here, you can have some empathy, right?
Yes. And trauma, when people think trauma, they think like major trauma, like being abused physically, mentally, or right, like raped. They think major trauma.
Mental abuse is trauma.
Right. But even a kid being bullied or being teased or being called a certain thing, or even a simple comment that really affected like how you feel.
That's not what boys do.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like a simple comment can be planted and cause a certain reaction.
What are you, a girl?
Yep. Or a certain emotion.
Yeah.
And if it's said more than once, right? They say it takes 3 times for it to become a limited belief.
Yeah.
Who knows exactly, but that's what they say. And it's implanted and it's there in the subconscious mind. And maybe the reason why you're feeling a certain way.
Yeah. The other thing that I was thinking when I was reading that too is that there's billions of people on this planet now. And there's been, I don't know, hundreds of billions of people throughout history. Mm-hmm. There's been people, I'm sure, that have felt the same way. But what did people do before? You had no choice but to accept that this is how I feel and this is how I am.
So
it's only because we've had advancements in technology and we have medicines and now we can friggin' make hormones or generate hormones or however they do it and inject it into you, or I don't know the whole process or whatever. But this is new.
So I'm going to throw something out there. And I think I've shared this with you.
Yeah.
But I haven't shared it with you all. And so I don't know how old I was. I wasn't a teenager. I must have been like, I don't know, my 20s. But there was a point where I was attracted to females.
Yeah.
You know, I shared this with you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, wait,
no.
I share that, right?
What?
I share everything with you.
What? You were what? Wait, what?
You know, and I'm throwing all my shit out there. And I've had some experiences. And there was a point where that's what I was attracted to. And yeah. So what took place? Why all of a sudden did that change happen? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was something that was just like, seriously, like it seemed like friggin' overnight. I was just attracted to females.
Yeah.
Now, did I seem, and I don't know, they say, girls go through this kind of, they go through these things, but it wasn't to get attention.
Right.
Because it was very kind of hush hush.
Yeah.
So it wasn't to get attention from the opposite sex.
Yeah.
You understand? It was my little secret.
Yeah.
Right? Oh my gosh, I shit my mom. Hopefully she doesn't listen to this. I just like threw my shit like,
Oh God.
You know?
He's just, yeah. That's
but nobody knew.
Yeah.
Only the other person. But
right.
Yeah, it was very hush hush.
Yeah, I don't know if that was like experimenting or whatever. Like, that's something else that I wanted to get into. But yeah, I don't know. And
it was not just, it was for a bit.
So do you think that was like, was it because you were going through things or?
I've never really even thought about it. Like, this is the first time
was it like rebelling against something? Because some people say that. I don't know if that's true or not, but I've heard that before.
No. I was having so much fun in my life.
It's like if your dad's a pastor or whatever and they freaking piss you off, it's like, you know what, I'm gay,
No. It was very spontaneous. It was just, back then I was partying a lot, right? Like I was drinking. I was young and having fun and enjoying life. But it wasn't like it happened like at a club. I wasn't, how girls, they do that to get the attention. Like they'll be on the dance floor and find another girl and then they start making out. That's not what it was.
Yeah. Everybody's like, woo.
Yeah, that's not what it was. Like I was sexually attracted to
girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't openly to get the attention. It was very hush hush, like I said.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I have to think about that actually. Because I never really thought about it. Like what happened?
Well,
how did that,
maybe, I don't know. It could be a lot of stuff, or it could be a lot of different things. But maybe like.
You're not a doctor. You're not a counselor or therapist.
No. But I'm a philosopher. I be thinking stuff. I be thinking stuff. I be thinking stuff sometimes. No, I'm just saying like yes, back then you would see girls that would make out with other girls and then everybody, for the attention maybe or whatever. But maybe where you came from, like your family, whatever, like you knew that would not be accepted, which is why it was probably kept a secret. I don't know.
No.
I don't know, but back then it wasn't as accepted as it is today.
Right.
Today it's just a fucking free-for-all. Do your thing. Right. Who gives a shit?
Right.
Yeah, I'm into dudes. I'm into girls. I like both, whatever. Who gives a shit? Do your thing. You like who you like. Yeah. But back in the day, it was like, no, men, women only. And if not, something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
It's been that way until recently. Because I think almost now, like being gay doesn't really have a stigma like that. Maybe a little bit. Like there's still a little lingering something here and there because I don't know if it ever just goes away. But it's like way freer, See,
and it's way different because like that young individual was saying since he was little,
6, I think,
that he recognized something was different, or she felt that something was different at a very young age. She was aware.
Right.
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 That's why I'm saying, like, to understand. I don't know. That's why I said be very interesting. Like I would be open to.
Regardless of the whole thing, I think, acceptance is like what you have to get to. I don't know. It's hard to explain how broad just the power of that and how broad it expands. Accepting everything in life just how it is and not trying to make it what it's not or what you want it to be. you know?
Yeah.
Because just like when you don't follow truth, I think it causes problems.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, if it was just, if that's what it is, and she goes and gets hormone replacement, whatever, it's her body, it's her deal, right? It's her thing. It gets messy when it starts to really.
Sorry, go ahead.
It gets messy when I think we talked about it at the last podcast or one previously. It's like, well, my daughter's using the bathroom.
Yeah.
And a dude
walks in
who's feels like he's a woman, but it's right. That's where it gets sticky. Like, that's where it gets sticky.
Yeah,
like, if this individual wants to and do whatever they want to do to their body and blah, 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 that's their prerogative.
Yes.
But when it starts to seep into
society,
right,
it becomes a problem.
Right.
You know, it's like, well, you still have the male parts. You're a dude. And like we mentioned on the last podcast, like, everybody wants things to be so nice and neat. Black and white, male and female. That's the only two. Like, somebody commented on our video that the boxer from the Olympics is a female. Mm-hmm. And they were raised a female. They were put down as a female. They are a female. And intersex is not a thing. Like, that's illegal in our country. And they can't be intersex. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay. So because it's illegal in your country, it makes it not a thing. So your country wants it to be black and white, male, female, and that's it. And there's nothing. We know that there are rare cases where people are in between. They're born with these chromosomes. They don't fully develop. Shit happens. Right. You know, it's not so simple.
Yeah. Yeah.
But one thing that I wanted to mention, because it kind of made me think about this person's situation. They're thinking about taking hormones. I've been thinking about taking hormones. Not in the same way, but I'm getting older. And I train jujitsu. There's a lot of people and that I train with that take hormones once you start getting older. If you're working out, if you're athletic, you hear people like, well, if you take hormones, it helps your body repair. It helps you build muscle better. It helps with all kinds of stuff. Is that accepting what is? Because I'm not that. Or is that different? Because the only way that I could see that it's different would be that, and this may be just me trying to justify it for myself, but back in the day, we also know that the stuff that we eat and the way that we live now has reduced testosterone in males a lot. Like, I'm pretty sure there's like studies. If you look at males in the 50s and their testosterone levels, like males today, is way lower than it used to be. Partially because of all the food and the shit that we eat that, So is it different? I don't know, But it just kind of made me think. And that's a great example of it's not so simple. It gets complicated, right? But I think in this other instance, it is a little bit different because you're using these things to change yourself into something that you're not. Which I guess, I don't know. Like I said, it's weird, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
We also, we watched, I shared a video with you that I kind of came across about stuff like that. Like how when you want things to be one way or another, or they have to be like this, or they have to be like that, that also causes problems. And it also doesn't help have empathy for other people. That's how we get into tribes and we become tribal about things.
Yeah.
Before we do anything else, make sure you guys go to our website or follow us on all our social media. Send us a message. If you guys want to call us, 480-331-9846. If you want to send us a message, we can play it on the podcast. We can answer it here on the show. If you want to be anonymous, you don't have to give your name. You don't have to say anything. Just leave the question. Yeah, and we'd love to hear from you. And if you guys want to give us a congratulations for the 300th episode, yay!
Or yay! There you go.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, just follow us, share it, just do all of that stuff.
Do all that good stuff.
We were gonna mention some other stuff, but I don't even know if that shit's gonna work anymore. So we got
to fix it.
Set that all up again.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. Back to the show. Follow, subscribe, share, do that.
Yes.
So, acceptance. There was something that I had mentioned to you earlier this week. Something that people debate a lot. Not a lot, but there's people that debate this on the internet. There's philosophers that debate this. I was just watching a video with 2 astrophysicists that were talking about free will and whether we have free will or not. Like whether your life is predetermined or do you get to make the decisions? And it's tough. Like it's tough to like think about, but like to wrap your mind around the whole concept of free will. Like, do I get to decide, or like is the way my life plays out already written for me and I'm just kind of like living this out?
Mm-hmm.
You know? What do you think?
Share more.
Well,
so explain, what does that mean? Free will. And if our lives are predetermined.
Well,
because when I hear that, I know what I'm hearing and what I feel and what I think. But what is it exactly that this individual is talking about? Like, give an example.
You know, I think this comes up in religious talk.
Okay. So maybe I am feeling. Okay.
It does come up in religious talk because God has a plan.
Mm-hmm.
And he already knows everything. He knows what you're about to do. He knows the things that you've done. He knows all the things that are going to happen.
So you're talking about the religious God.
No, I mean, even if it's not religious, like your life is going to play out in a certain way. Like, is that already written somehow, some way?
Okay.
Or do you get to change it, and are you in charge of everything?
I feel that we as spirit decided what we were going to experience in this lifetime.
Yeah.
Like we chose.
So you chose to be born.
I feel
the way you were.
I know this is.
You chose to be born by your mom and your dad.
I chose my mom. I chose my dad. Everything that's happening in my life.
Why didn't you choose somebody else?
I have no idea because I don't remember that. Because I feel like our memory is wiped clean. We don't know.
What makes you feel that way?
No, I don't know. There's just something.
Yeah.
I can't tell you.
Maybe suspend belief.
It's not like
I'm just
live
saying.
it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
No, but this is also not the first time that you've said this.
Yeah.
You've said this a lot.
And it's not that like it's something that
runs your life.
This is what it is. Because it can't run you. There's no way it can run your life. Because there's nothing I can do.
If I feel that, their life.
Right? If I feel like that, if that's what I feel, I don't have any control. It's just unfolding as it's supposed to unfold. It's trusting in the now. It doesn't matter whether that's true or not. It doesn't matter. My life is going to unfold depending on the decisions, action or lack of actions that I take. So it doesn't matter whether I believe that or not. It's just going to take course. It's just going to happen, you know?
Yeah. It's getting weird. But anyway,
like,
what
well, and you know what? When I look back in my past and I play it back as a movie, everything led to the next thing. That thing
It always
led
does.
to the next thing. It's just freaking crazy, all of it.
Yeah.
Meeting you, right?
Yeah.
And looking back at the things that I was so scared of, the things that I felt that I had control of during that time. It perfectly aligns with where I am today.
Like it was pre-written. Yeah.
You know, and if you not, because you don't get off course, because
this is your path
happening, right?
Right.
So it's like, okay, well, this lesson, you're supposed to learn this lesson. I chose to experience unconditional love. So I decided this was my dad, this was going to be my dad, this was going to be my mom, and these were the experiences that they were going to have in order to create the limited belief of me not wanting to know what love is because of what I witnessed as a child. But because my choice was to, it's so crazy, to experience love, unconditional love, but to learn, it's so hard to explain. But to learn, I had to go through all these broken relationships and all this stuff, you know, in order to get to where I am today.
You see,
with you.
Is that the same as where people feel like you have to earn enlightenment? You have to sit in solitude and all this stuff. Like you had to go through all these things to understand what true love was. And you couldn't have done it without any of that other stuff.
Those are the things that I chose to go through in order to get to where I am today, experiencing unconditional love. But in order for me to experience unconditional love, I had to experience the other side. It's the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
And to appreciate, I had to go through these things. I had to wake up in order to. And the purpose is to continue to go through things, to grow through things, to continue peeling back the layers to the onion to get to the truth of who I am, who I was created to be. Waking up.
Yeah. I don't know.
But who knows?
Yeah, shit's complicated, like we said. You know, but one thing that I was mentioning last week and that I was talking to Audrey about was about life being random, right? Mm-hmm. Because that's how I feel. I feel you don't get to pick your parents. I didn't pick my parents. The kids didn't pick us. They just were born to us. They could have been whatever. Mm-hmm. And what's up, yo? You trying to throw me off again? The fuck?
To make fun of you. But you didn't go for it.
We're doing a show here.
And it's almost like a reality show, so it is that.
So life is random, and we could have been born from a king. You could have been born Trump's son, but you weren't. You were just born to your parents. Like it is what it is. You don't pick it. And because you don't get to pick it, shit happens to you in that life, in your life. Mm-hmm. Like I said, you get born into the south side of Chicago and all you know is hood shit. All you know is territorial shit. Like, this is my block. These are my people. I'm going to have a shootout. You know, like, you don't know any better. Mm-hmm. That's your life. Mm-hmm. And you can't expect somebody to just like be somebody else. Now, this is kind of like, I guess, philosophically, maybe not exactly the free will debate. But what I was thinking is, if you get to a point of awareness where you can understand that life is random, shit happens, I don't get to pick, my experiences don't make me who I am, those happen to be my experiences, we're all the same because we didn't get to pick. Nobody's better than me, nobody's better than you, I'm not better than you. Yeah. That goes for animals. I mean, the planet, like all of it together as an organism, as a being, like understanding the sacredness of everything. When you have a certain level of awareness of life and the world, at that point, I think you can have free will. Because at that point, you can start making your own decisions. Before that, your trauma, your experiences, and the things that manifest from your trauma and experiences, your addictions, your whatever, ends up determining your life. Because we were also talking about, last week, I think you mentioned something about the person, like two people that are aware, that are enlightened, or whatever you want to call it. One person's drinking carrot juice and one person's smoking a cigarette, and they look at each other as the same. And they both understand what it is. You know?
Right. There's no judgment.
I could choose to smoke a cigarette right now if I wanted to. I don't want to. But if I did, that's what it is. It was just a decision for me to do that. It's not that I'm addicted to this.
And you know what's so crazy?
What?
It may not mean... So the things that we grasp are the things that we, like, the way you see it, the meaning of that analogy and what you're taking from it is coming from your 126. It's coming from your lenses of how you see life and your beliefs.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to share that same analogy with someone else and see what they think of it. What do you mean? Yeah. What do you think they mean by this?
Yeah.
Because for me, sorry, baby, for me, when I heard that, it's like when you are around someone that is spiritually awoken, I don't know, enlightened, aware, whatever, you understand life, you see it for what it is. You are detached from all things because you understand who you are and you understand what this earthly game is about. Right. And you see each other and you recognize each other and it just is.
Right. And we were watching a video from Sadhguru earlier and he was talking about when you're a kid and when your uncle says that you're an idiot, right? This is the same thing. When you understand life in a certain way, you can, like you said, detach and you can have free will. You don't have free will if you're still attached to that emotion, if that still affects you, if your uncle, because now you're 40 something, your uncle is 50, 60 something, and then when you see them, you're like, that's the guy that called me an idiot.
Right.
But when you can understand that he called me an idiot because there's something going on with him. It had nothing to do with me. And if he knew all the things about me, he might have had some empathy, but he doesn't understand things correctly.
Right.
You detach from it, and you know what that gives you? It gives you freedom. You have free will. I don't just react or have emotions. It's not predetermined for me because I understand what it is. And I think that's, at that point, you have free will. Once you have that level of awareness about yourself, about life, about everything around you. You know? What are you fucking laughing at over there, Scooby-Doo? The fuck was that?
It's hilarious. It's fun. This journey, you get to a certain age in life and you just start to really think about life. Like, what is the whole purpose of this? Right? What is the purpose of living?
Yeah.
And, it's just beautiful to just all the things that are out there. And you just have to, you know what? It really doesn't matter. It doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It really doesn't matter.
Just enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Try to be happy as much as you can.
It's not that serious.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I accept you for what you believe and who you are.
Yeah.
And I am who I am, and I love who I am and where I am today.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm only going to continue to get better. Yeah. And there are challenges. Like, this journey is, it's not easy.
Yeah.
Like, really, pulling the veil, like, just really, you know, being able to look in the mirror and take responsibility and making a decision that,
Yeah.
there's just, yeah.
You have to figure out how to accept life for what it is without changing it, without trying to change it. It just is what it is. One thing that I wanted to mention was I was listening to something from Alan Watts, and I want to get into that next week because we don't have a lot of time to get into that. But one thing that he mentioned was these moments where he gave an example of somebody that, like, let's say they've been in a concentration camp and they never thought they were going to get out.
Mm-hmm.
They've been doing the same thing week after week, suffering week after week, month after month. And then some, like at a certain point, I mean, I'm sure you question, like, why am I going through this stuff? Like, what happened in my life that landed me here? Like, there's other people, and like, why couldn't I be over there? Like, whatever. Mm-hmm. And they were talking about the moment where something changes and you get let go. And how when you're let go, it just completely changes your perspective on everything, on life, because you thought you were going to fucking die in a concentration camp. Mm-hmm. And you just see the world completely different. Also, kind of like being a refugee, which is something that I think we can all relate to a little bit more. Not exactly if you're not a freaking refugee, but we hear more about refugees today, just like we talked about the Uber driver that we had that had left from Afghanistan, right? That came up too. And they were talking about, like, the ultimate acceptance of who you are. Like, in that case, like, imagine if you had to flee your town, your village, your whatever, in Ukraine or in the Middle East or whatever's happening, and you land in pretty much a new world, like a new place that you've never been to, don't speak the language. Your entire family's probably dead. Your friends might be dead, or you don't know where they are. You don't even know if your town exists anymore because of the things that are happening. Like, who are you? Mm-hmm. Who are you when you show up somewhere? You're nobody, mm-hmm. right? Like, that's a crazy freaking thought. To have to, like, find yourself.
Yeah.
But you will at that point. I don't know. It's crazy.
Our time is up, but I did want next
before we get out of here,
I want to share what I was going through today, what I was reading.
Oh yeah, no, we should do that on the next one for sure. Yeah, because that.
And maybe
I thought I was my fucking period today. I was like crying in the morning. Like, this freaking guy sends me a message and I'm like empathizing with this person, you know, like I'm like, dude, it's a 16-year-old kid. I just want them to be happy. And I'm getting emotional, like thinking about them. And then I fucking walk in and you're like looking at this stuff from India and I'm like, oh shit. You know, it's like, am I about to start?
Oh, I didn't know you were already in that space when you came upstairs, because you came upstairs and I don't know. I was just going through my drawer and I found this and I'm like,
if you guys want to know what this is, make sure you guys don't miss the next episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I was like, what the fuck? Oh man. But anyway, before we get out of here, I wanted to share this because earlier in the week I was with Joey. We were going somewhere, coming from somewhere, and we had to talk about something because he had mentioned something joking around about putting us in a home.
Oh, yes, little brat.
He's like, you guys are getting old. I'm gonna put you in a home. You know, and if you guys have been listening to this podcast for any length of time over the last 300 episodes, there's been times where, and I don't know if this has been this way since the beginning. I think it has though, because I've had these feelings that I remember hearing about like the Asian culture, which is where it came up, but I don't think it's Asian culture. Our friend, I can't say our friend, but the guy that we met from Afghanistan, he was explaining how family is, right?
Yes.
And this is other cultures, but not here in the U.S. In the U.S., we put old people in homes. That's where you go, right?
Yeah.
But in other cultures, it's like the parents raise the kids, right? And they teach the kids, and they do just about everything for the kids. And as the kids get older, they start doing more. And as the parents start getting older, they continue to teach, but they can't do the things that they used to be able to do.
Right.
And then the kids and the other family, the other tribe, like helps out. Like how I've always thought, like I always take it back to like, how would this be in the natural world? This shit is not natural. Electricity is not natural. Hunting is natural. Gathering around a fire is natural. Being in a tribe is natural. It's not being in cities and in developments and in a home, right? And when you look at some of these other cultures, as the parents get older, they move back in with the kids. And then the kids take care of the parents. And I was talking to Joey about that. And it brings up, you know, my mom's moving closer, right? And I told Joey, I was like, if you do things right and not in a selfish sense, because I don't do the things for you and for the kids because shit, somebody's gonna have to wipe my ass when I get old. You know? No. I want the best for you. I want the best for them. But in the end, they, if you've done it right, should want to take care of you. If you've taught them correctly, they should not want to put you in a home. Shit. I mean, when you're dying, that's where you want them the most. Like in my last days, I don't want to be in some fucking cold old folks home. I want to be, shit, if I could be in my kid's house with them around, that would be awesome. And at the end of the day, nothing is guaranteed. And that's where acceptance comes back in. Because there is no telling how things play out.
Right.
That it would be nice for them to work out that way. And I would love it if it worked out that way. And there are things that you can do to make it more likely that they turn out that way than not. You know?
And that is, you can't leave it like
being
that.
there for your kids, raising your kids, being involved, caring about what happens to other people.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And then Joey still said he was going to put us in a home. No, I'm just kidding. But
he's such a sweet boy.
Yeah, no, he's a sweetheart.
He's so funny.
You know, and it always kind of reminds me too, like, it reminds me of my grandfather. You know, when my grandfather was passing away, I remember it was hard. Like I don't know if he even told me, but I think maybe my mom or one of my aunts told me that it was hard for him to have us taking care of him.
Yeah, because he was a very independent man.
Yeah. I mean, we're men and we're adults. Yeah. We're our own people and we have pride in what our abilities and what we can do. And Man, jujitsu is a great lesson for that too, because at a certain point, like your biggest thing that you're going to do is teach, because you can't hang with the freaking young kids all the time. Shit hurts, shit breaks. Like you just can't do it. So what do? You teach, you help.
Last night, I went and helped a friend out and notarized a will and power of attorney and for their grandmother, who was 93 years old.
Seen some things.
Yes.
Been around.
And she was bright and so beautiful. And I'm, you know me, I'm sitting there and it's so cute. She has a headband on and she's so cute. And I'm witnessing this family have this conversation because she's having to go get some things done. And she was adopted. And just feeling the love that this family has created within the family and the support was so beautiful. And her name was Maria. And Maria tells me, she's like, I'm 93 years old. She says, and what is she? Está vieja. Like I'm old.
Estoy vieja.
So, yeah. And she was having like a difficult time, like signing. Her hand was shaking and
yeah,
it was so beautiful for me to see. Like just, I didn't feel like sad seeing this. There was just this joy within me and seeing that she was okay with that.
Yeah.
Like she's like, I'm 93 years old. Like I'm old.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
But there was there was acceptance.
Right.
Within her and everyone around her. Like this is just part of life. This is the cycle.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And what I was explaining about my grandfather was like, I remember when I was visiting, you know, I visited my grandfather right before he passed away, and there was a lot going on. Like he was in his apartment, and they had like people coming in to help from time to time. But my mom and my aunt were, I think, the ones that were taking care of him mostly, and my aunts, yeah. But while I was there, it is nice to have a guy around that can help pick him up and move him. And as his grandson, I wanted to help.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like after everything that they've done for me, like it sounds cheesy or whatever, but it's like my honor to be able to do that.
Yeah.
You know? And to spend those last moments with my grandfather and help him in any way that I can. That's the way that it should be. Right? Yeah. Not having some random motherfuckers out there doing shit. Like, no, leave that to me. I don't want anybody else doing that. You know?
Yeah.
Man, one of the coolest memories that I have is actually when my grandfather was near the end. And man, it showed like the power of comedy. And it was so cool. Like he wasn't responding to a lot. Yeah. And I just had the idea that I was going to sit with him and listen to some of his old comedy tapes with him, because I would sit in the car and listen to them with him when we would drive places. And like I said, he wouldn't respond to a lot of stuff. Like he was there and, you know, he would say hi or whatever. But I remember when I started playing it, like I could hear him giggle. And I was like, wow. Like that's powerful, man. You know, it was pretty cool. That's like a moment I'll remember forever. But yeah, I feel if you do things right, that's how you should feel. Is that I want to. Please don't let anybody else do that, that I want to do that, you know?
Yeah.
But you have to build it that way. You can't just kick your family to the curb and expect that they're just going to fucking show up at the end of the day.
Right.
That's not how it works. That's not how tribes work. I'm sure there's people that got attitudes and shit in tribes and they have to figure it out. Right? I don't know. You got to learn how to accept life.
Love. The highest frequency energy is love. Love is what creates that unconditional love.
And empathy. Yeah.
Love is empathy.
Yes. Yeah, it is. It is.
Love is forgiveness. Love
It's
is
all
compassion. It's everything wrapped up in a beautiful bowl.
Love is acceptance.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate.
Yep.
It is the ultimate. Love conquers all.
Yep. And with that, thank you guys for being with us for episode 300. I think we got a little weird somewhere there in the middle. But I hope you stick around because they're not, shit happens. We do what we do. Yeah. It's fun. But make sure you guys come back for the next episode. We're going to talk about, definitely don't miss it because we want to get into that. And I also want to share a little bit more about what I heard with Alan Watts and some of that stuff because it was, a great change in perspective. So, thank you guys for being with us.
Thank you guys for your love. Thank you for your support. And thank you for watching Opposites Attract
let's do that one again.
And thank you for watching Opposites Attract podcast, where we get better together. Bye.